Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is September 18th, and right now we are looking at culmination of Doppler radars here across Pacific Northwest. You can see some of that moisture moving up from that storm off the California coast already into southern Oregon. Some thunderstorms possible here for eastern Oregon, southeast Washington, Pullman, Lewiston, Burns, Boise, Helena, all included in that. And we had some light precipitation move across the region here. I don't know just how much of that accumulated overnight. It was not that much. But you can see better dynamics do exist down here as the SPC has that general thunder risk across the area here. Now going ahead and taking a look at the infrared satellite imagery here, you can see that storm system setting off the coast of California here, spreading that moisture northward into southern Oregon right now. Great beneficial precipitation to California. This will eventually spin here for a few days, then eject northeastward. Some of these high and mid-level clouds may play some havoc here for some of the high temperatures across the region, but we are going to be moving a ridge and get some offshore flow as we go through this week as well across the area. Looking at the wind advisory for San Francisco, California along the coast there does include the city. Gust of 45. Down trees and limbs are possible. Power outages possible with this system as it rolls through the area. Nice graphic here. And then it's San Francisco National Weather Service page. This is for Sacramento, California, showing these beneficial rains down in towards the valley. Thunderstorms possible, mainly embedded. And even some snow above 8,000 feet. Heaviest precip Sunday night into Monday morning. And looking at Spokane, chilly nights before warm days coming up this week. You guys probably feel it in the atmosphere as you wake up in the morning across much of the region here. We are definitely headed towards fall. No major heat wave in sight, but some nice warm days definitely possible. Tuesday, blowing dust. We'll check out why this is going to happen here. I-90, Highway 2, 97 could be impacted. So heads up there mainly during the day Tuesday. Looking at Medford, Oregon here, good graphics again, rain showers expected. Beneficial rain, but it will not put an end to the wildfire season here across the area. We'll take a look at some of the precipitation values they can expect. This is for the beach hazard statement down here for southwest Oregon. It does include the potential for some sneaker waves. You could really probably extend it all the way up the Oregon coast, Washington coast much of the year. It's always good to, face the ocean and don't let these sneaker waves come and get you. They are present much of the year. Now, taking a look at SeaTac, Washington, below average for the seventh straight day. Probably going to end that streak today as we get towards the low to mid 70s possible, then mid 70s, and even up some upper 70s on through this week as we go for Seattle here coming up. Now checking out what's coming, 100-meter wind speeds pretty close to the surface. There's that upper level low spinning off the coast of California here. And as we go on into Monday night, you'll notice some of these winds start to roar across eastern Washington down in towards eastern Oregon here as we get some strong offshore flow across the region. It's going to help warm up the area through this week coming up here. Take a look in the next graphic as to why this wind is coming here as well. We always want to know the why behind these things here. So checking out the surface pressure map as we go on in through Sunday into Monday morning into Monday afternoon. You can see that surface high pressure here move across the Rockies, across BC and Alberta here, really set up across the Rocky Mountains. And of course, air wants to flow from high to low, and that's why those northerly winds are going to come across the region here. You can see the low pressure here and the high here. It just makes sense that these would flow through the terrain and across the area here. So watch out for that blowing dust. Could extend all the way down into eastern Oregon from eastern Washington as well, coming up here on the day Tuesday. Now checking out European model here yesterday afternoons. Let's go ahead and put this into effect here. You can see some of this precipitation possible today with some thunderstorm activity for eastern Oregon, southeast Washington. But the big player here is the storm system off the coast of California. As we go on in through Monday here, Monday afternoon, you'll see some of this beneficial moisture really start to move into the southern Oregon Cascades. And as we go on in through Wednesday morning, it continues, and you can kind of see this low start to eject across the region. Finally, Wednesday afternoon, perhaps bringing some nice precipitation values across eastern Washington, Idaho. We'll watch this. Look at some of these values here for Spokane, up over an inch is possible here as we go through the extended forecast. Now taking a look at what's going on here, Alaska, BC, Washington, Oregon, California, there's Hawaii, that cutoff low north of Hawaii. And there's our trough off the west coast. You can see that cold air, the bulk of it just kind of moving down the coast of California. This again is at 10,000 feet, 700 millibars. And look how long this low just kind of hangs out here as this ridge just holds it in place. Finally, that ridge kicks off, and then we bring that upper level low across the region here. Then maybe a weak system as we go on into next weekend. Now, the question in the extended forecast is how much of a ridge will build in the wake of that. We're potentially looking at another few warm days through the end of September, But some of the models have been backing off on that a little bit and pushing that ridge off to the east a bit quicker. As you can see, some colder air spilling out across the Gulf of Alaska. So it really depends on how progressive this troughing is through on and through next week. But again, this is 10 days out. We have plenty of time to look at that. We'll kind of just watch it day by day and see which models do best in this scenario. Here's the deterministic on the GFS. Upper level low spins for a few days off the coast of California, ejects northeastward. And as we go on in through the following weekend, that weak system moves through. Then you can see the ridge try to build here on the GFS. But as you can see through the Intermountain West here, the ridge generally exists there, and it doesn't really build out across Pacific Northwest too much here. Gulf of Alaska quick to return here as well through just as we get over 200 hours out here. Getting a little bit far out there, but it does show a pretty, some systems moving all the way down through western Washington and Oregon potentially through the end of September as well. So that warmth through the end of September is not a slam dunk at this point as of yet. Now looking at the GFS Ensemble mean, this is all 30 Ensemble members averaged together, and you can see upper level low, ridge moves over the top. We get some offshore flow. This thing finally ejects northeastwards across the region. Kind of tries to build a little bit of a ridge here. It might keep the storm track north of us at least for a couple of days before we start to build that Gulf of Alaska troughing here. In fact, since this GFS is running, let's go ahead and update this right now. We were at 156 hours out. We've got a little bit more information coming across. So you can kind of see the ridge does exist there. So we still have the potential for some warmer days across Pacific Northwest. No big heat wave is expected right now as far as I can see, or as it looks here on the GFS anyway, through the end of September. But you can see here is the European Ensemble control run, upper level low, kicks through. What we're looking at here is the extended. European's been showing a bit more of a ridge here as we go through the extended forecast, but now it's kicking that off to the east a little bit more. Weak system moves through northern British Columbia, kind of flattens that ridge out a little bit. Gulf of Alaska troughing tries to return here by the end of September, so we may start to really feel the fall season come into effect here near the end of September into early October here. But we have plenty of time to continue to watch that, but kind of exciting for rain lovers here across Pacific Northwest. Seattle, Tacoma, nice days coming up this week. You can see this as we go through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and on into Thursday before that weak system moves through this weekend. Then the potential for some ridging to move through at the beginning of the following week here, but we'll continue to watch that. You can kind of see the chaotic differences between the control run and the mean, and some of these ensemble runs are all over the place. But it looks like some nice weather coming up this week for Seattle. Medford, Oregon, that upper level low is going to be nearby here, and then it ejects northward and probably keeping you chilly here through Wednesday and Thursday before the potential exists to warm back up again through next weekend, but we'll continue to monitor that. Portland, again, some nice days coming up this week for a bit of a cool down this weekend, and then the potential for some more warmth returning. But you can see again with the ensemble runs kind of all over the place as we go out past next weekend. Now looking at Seattle, Tacoma, if you remember yesterday I showed this, and a lot of these ensemble members were quite a bit drier here, so it kind of switched a little bit, showing that potential through the extended here for getting some systems down through the region. But again, take that with a grain of salt at this point. You can see the light precipitation possibility here with that weak system moving through next weekend. We'll watch that as it gets closer as well. Everett, same thing. You can see some of these ensemble members have some pretty juicy rainfall totals in there, but again, it's way out there. It's just kind of something to start to watch here at this point. Same thing for Bellingham, a little bit higher than yesterday. Now looking at through September 25th, October 1st, they took that main bullseye away here. They backed up a little bit here, but we still have the potential here for some warmer conditions here through the end of September. And precipitation below average signal. But if models keep trending and that Gulf of Alaska trough keeps trending during this period, this is quickly going to get wiped away here in the extended forecast on the National Weather Service. But anyway, yeah, big weather maker here is the one moving across California. Should expand across central Oregon Cascades as well. Bring some nice precipitation. Thunderstorms possible today out through eastern Washington, Oregon as this moisture moves northward. And this is going to sit out here for a couple of days here. So it could bring some surprise precipitation amounts across the region here too before it finally ejects northeastward. And then maybe some warmth towards the end of September here. But the Gulf of Alaska troughing doesn't look to be far away on some of the model runs. We'll continue to watch that. And we'll do this again tomorrow. Thanks for my new members signing up here. The least I can do is let your name scroll across the screen here. I'm very proud of all of you. And so yeah, click like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, let your neighbors know about the channel. Helps it get the word out a little bit more here. I'm actively working on the Puget Sound Convergence Zone video right now, as well as the Pacific Northwest Greatest Windstorm video as well. Those should be out here. Probably the Convergence Zone one in the next few days, and then the windstorm one, I'm going to try to get that out probably before October actually, or maybe by early October. So keep watching for those. I'll probably put them out one of these nights here in the next couple of weeks actually. So I'm getting quite a bit of work done on those too. And anyway, we'll go ahead and do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.